Terror, the torture, the isolation suffered by Arthur Labinjo-Hughes. The coming months will now see his death given the sort of scrutiny he was utterly denied in life. It looks like any photo of a loving family. But today Arthur's father, Thomas Hughes, and stepmother Emma Tustin were jailed for their barbarity, as questions persist over how it could have occurred. This is the 999 call Emma Tustin made just after inflicting the head injury which would eventually kill Arthur.
Ambulance service, is the patient breathing?
Barely. Basically, my 6-year-old stepson is fallen, he's banged his head.
Okay.
And while he was on the floor, he's banged his head another 5 times.
Okay.
He's lost colour, he's got a big lump on his head.
Is he awake?
He's half in and out,
Okay.
but he's banged his head quite hard. He's basically been treating us all up. He threw himself on the floor, he's headbutting the floor. I'm trying to pick him up in the process, he's headbutting me in the process.
She continued her campaign of lies and criticism of her stepson when police arrived.
He's battered his dad. He's hit me. When I tried to get him off the floor from headbutting the floor, he headbutted me and he kicked me and he's hit me.
Today she refused to enter the courtroom to hear the judge's sentencing remarks. He told the pair, "This cruel and inhuman treatment of Arthur was a deliberate decision by you to brush off his cries for help as naughtiness. Of Tustin," he added, "you are a manipulative woman who will tell any lie and shift the blame onto anyone to save your own skin. You wanted Thomas Hughes so he could provide for you and your own children, but did not want to be troubled by Arthur any longer." Just 2 months before he died, social workers from Solihull Council came to Tustin's house, where Arthur had been living during the first lockdown. An independent serious case review is now examining why they recorded no concerns. The NSPCC had repeatedly warned of an increase in child cruelty during those months.
Obviously, the lockdown increased the risk to children generally of serious risk of abuse and neglect. So we know that the eyes and ears of teachers, social workers weren't on vulnerable children in households where abuse and neglect were taking place. And this was certainly the case for Arthur.
Had Hughes not met Tustin, Arthur would still be alive, his grandmother today said in court. She described a happy, contented, thriving 6-year-old. One who was failed, she said, by the very authorities who were there to ensure the safety of everyone.
And Julian, you were in court earlier and it must have been so difficult listening to those impact statements.
ICL, it's hard to know where to begin with this case. There have been several weeks of just unremittingly appalling details. Relatives of Arthur have been in court, including his grandparents, who tried to raise the alarm with social services, of course. And yesterday, both of his grandmothers read victim impact statements. Incredibly difficult for them to do so. Daniel Hughes was watching her son get sentenced, of course, for the killing of her own grandson. She said that Arthur was the sunlight of all of our lives. His death has turned the colour of our lives into a perpetual grey. None of this was heard by Emma Tustin. She was in the court building but wouldn't come up into the courtroom. It was perhaps her final insult to Arthur, but tonight the NSPCC says today's sentencing was the first step of the campaign to get justice for him.